Starting with last season, how do you think that went?
Well, I'll talk about me on a personal note. I thought, obviously, I got brought into the club at the endish of the season. Obviously, it got cut short. Managed to play myself in 3 or 4 games, and I really enjoyed it. Obviously, there were a few familiar faces for me that I knew already. Wayne came in, which made a big difference. He was a good help to Gandhi. And as you all know, we went on a bit of a run at the end of the season, and it was fantastic for me personally to be a part of that and play centre mid with Tom Marshall and Rico and Ando. And I enjoyed it, to be fair. And I was really disappointed that obviously the situation with the coronavirus and the season had to be cut short, which was a real shame because although playoffs were looking unlikely, potentially if we went on a run, I think there were 8 games left. Who knows? So it would have been good to kind of have a strong finish, but it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, what are your opinions on the decision to just end the season and not carry on when it's safe to do so?
Well, I think obviously in hindsight, it was the right decision. I think at the time, we weren't aware of the severity and the issues that the coronavirus was going to then cause as a knock-on effect in everyday life. So obviously it was the right decision, which is a shame as a sportsman, as a footballer. You want to play as much as possible, Tuesday, Saturday, even Sunday morning sometimes if you play at that level with your mates. And to get cut short was a shame, but it was the right decision. And today, as you can see, I'm still in my training kit. I haven't managed to have a shower yet. We've been out there this morning, a bit of an informal session. It was good to meet up with everyone. So hopefully we can get some news in the next few weeks about when the season's going to restart. We can get back out there properly. But yeah, it was the right decision. It was a real shame, but obviously some things are unfortunately more important than football in the bigger scheme of things.
Yeah, you played your first season at the new Manor Ground for the past version of a club, Ilkeston FC. What do you recall from your first spells?
Yeah, what a fantastic time that was. So I think it was 2011, 2012 season. Rightly so, Ilkeston FC, the newly reformed. It was the first season then we were reformed. Kev Wilson and Darren Caskey in charge. So we had kind of a strong management team at that time. There was a strong academy. We had some good young players like Terrell Waite breaking through into the first team. And then we had some great experienced players, Gary Ricketts. We had Russell Cook, Daryl Thomas, Laurie Wilson. So we had a fantastic experience throughout the team. And then we had some lightning players out on the wings. We had James Reed back then, was more of a winger. We had a guy, you probably don't know who he is, Will McCall, absolute lightning on the wing. And then for me, it was fantastic because I was at Loughborough University at the time. And there was 4 of us, myself, Dan Partridge, Will McCall and Josh Hill, who all went to Loughborough University together and all played for Ilkeston. So the fact that we had such a tight-knit little community, little car school, travelled in together, made a big difference. And Kev did a good job actually of assembling a good squad. And obviously we managed to sneak in the playoffs. I think, to be fair, in hindsight, we were probably the best team in the league that season. Don't say that to Wayne, because obviously he was assistant manager at Grantham then, and they won the league. They were a proper non-league team, so they won the league through playing good non-league football. But we were the best team in the league. Went on to win the semi-final 7-0, won the final 2-0. Clearly showed that we were a good team. We had some good players. Obviously, I was talking to you, Danny, few days ago about Matt Richards. He was probably the best player in the team by an absolute mile. Ask James Reed, ask Joe Maguire. He was there then as well. Fantastic talent. And he was a real help along with all the others that I've already spoke about. So yeah, some fond memories of that season that we still talk about now. Myself and Jack Watts playing golf with him tomorrow. So I'm sure we'll talk about that season. Me and him up and down the right, looking back on it with some very fond memories.
Yeah, when you did leave Ilkeston, you went to Australia. How did that come about?
Well, I was finishing university, so I'd done my 3 years at Loughborough University, and I just wanted a complete change. I'd been in the non-league scene a while, for about 6 or 7 years, and there's more to life than football, as we've seen with the coronavirus. And I just wanted to get out of the country. I just wanted to try something new, and I used football as like a bit of a vehicle to do that. So through university football, I knew someone who was a coach out there. So I just emailed him out the blue saying, Mark Richards, his name was, recently, he's been a Hereford manager in non-league. Just emailed him saying, Rico, right, mate, it's Cully, blah, blah, blah. I'm finished my degree now. I'm looking to come out to Australia. What's the score? Just how does it work? And it was like, yeah, got chatting. He was like, yeah, we'd love to have you on board. So I booked a flight literally a few days after my last exam, got on a flight to Australia, 24 hours, got off the plane, met him for the first time ever, trained with a team called Manly United in the Northern Premier League. So in the grand scheme of things, there's obviously the A-League in Australia, which is the only professional league. And then in regionalised, as it is in England, there's like non-league, depending on what state you're in, north, south, east or west, there's a non-league system. And they were at the top end of the non-league system called Manly United. So only a short season. There's only 12 teams in a league. Real strange. You play everyone 3 times. Real different. And playoffs wise, there's like six teams out of the 12 getting the playoffs, and then anyone can win the league. So it's not quite like in English football, but the standard was very good. I really was surprised actually how good the standard was, and I loved my 9 months there. And it was a real shame, as I said before, that visa wise I couldn't extend my visa and stay another season. So unfortunately I ended up coming back, but the reason I went out there was through a university contact. Mark Richards just literally emailed him out of the blue, and then it snowballed from.
You're on your third spell at the club now. Earlier you said you could class first two as one. What is it that keeps bringing you back to Ilkeston Town?
That's a good question, to be fair. Obviously the first time I came, I was aware of Ilkeston. I'd come from Boston United, so I was aware of kind of the size of the club was potentially similar to Boston, or had some potential to be as big as Boston. So I was aware of that, and having players like Darren Caskey involved, and Gary Ricketts, who I'd played with years ago for Hucknall Town, and Russell Cook, who I played for years ago at Hucknall Town. Same with Laurie Wilson. Obviously, these are good players. I'm thinking, well, they're going to be there for a reason. So obviously, the first time I was a bit unaware of the situation. The second time, as I said to you, I rang Kev the second I got off that plane. I was like, Kev, I'd love to come back. Is there any scope? And there was. And then the third time actually came around a little bit out of the blue. Obviously, I'm friends with Kieran Wells, who, as we all know, has left the club, which is a shame from a personal point of view. Obviously, I travel with him and I get along with him. It's good to see him 3-4 times a week at football, but that's life in football. He's moved on for the right reasons, to be fair. And he just rang me one day on a Saturday. I was like, oh, all right, Cully, Gandhi's asked about you. The gaffer, I was like, yeah, what was he saying? He was like, oh, I was just wondering if you're interested. And I was at Long Eaton at the time. I was in a bit of a player/assistant manager role, but I wasn't playing much. So we had some good young players, to be fair, who deserved to be playing. And he was like, we need a centre mid. Do you fancy it? So I played a friendly against Chesterfield in about, I think it was February, maybe late January actually, last season. Obviously give Gandhi a chance to have a look at me, and he saw me. So I had no hesitation. As soon as he said, we'd like to get you on board, knowing what I knew about the club before, the fan base, the facilities, the potential the club's got, it was kind of a no-brainer, to be fair. So left Long Eaton without hesitation from my side, and obviously straight into the Ilkeston setup. And I really did enjoy last season. I was starting to get a bit despondent with football. Having more of a coaching role, it was a lot of pressure, quite a lot of stress at times, not playing much. I wasn't actually enjoying it as much as I thought I would. So kind of a little bit got my love for the game back. I only played 4 games, as I said, but training 2-3 times a week, playing on a Saturday, kind of made me realise, yeah, I'm 32 now, I've probably got a few years left. I need to carry on playing. So yeah, without hesitation. I will say though, the fan base is fantastic, as most people know. Had quite a few nice comments and a few nice messages saying welcome back, which was a surprise. That kind of made me realise what a great club it is, and it's kind of a privilege to be here.
Yeah, you mentioned the 2011-12 team of the then Ilkeston FC. Would you say that was one of the best sides you've played with?
That's one of the better teams. I've been fortunate. I played in non-league a while. I've been around the scene since 2007, for 13, 14 years now. So I'm sure you can imagine, I've played for a fair few teams. And when I was younger, early 20s, I played for a few good teams. Boston United, had a spell at Belper, Stalybridge Celtic, Gainsborough. So I've been around, so I've played with some good players. But in terms of teams, that's probably right up there in the top 2 or 3 in terms of the teams. The squad we had was fantastic. Reedy won't like me saying this, but he couldn't get a kick. He was on the bench most weeks because we had players like Will McCall, players like Sam Duncan up and down the left. And I know times have changed. It's probably going to be me sat on the bench now and Reedy playing, so he can laugh about that himself. But yeah, we had a fantastic squad. We had some great goal scorers, and we had a good defence. A lot of the younger players you can see are still playing now. Ryan Wilson's still at Baseford. Obviously, I'm still knocking around. Who else? Obviously, Reedy's still playing. Joe Maguire was there at the time, so we had a fantastic squad. We had a lot of good young players. So yeah, that's right up there. To be fair, I was right back then. Bit of a marauding right back. I used to run off, and Jack used to do all my defending for me. Jack Watts, and we still have a bit of banter about that now. To be fair, but yeah, that was a good team. Always a good team with Gary Ricketts in. Always a good team, regardless.
What was it like coming on as a sub in the Derbyshire Senior Cup final at Chesterfield against Man?
Yeah, I noticed. Obviously, we spoke the other day. I claimed the assist for that. So there's a bit of a story behind that. So I was that was the end of my second spell. I'd fallen out of favour. Rob Coslett, one of my mates, actually, I worked with him at Derby County, and he got brought in as right back, and he was better than me. He was a better player than me. There's no doubt about that, even at his age. So I wasn't really playing until I was on the bench. Dan Partridge was playing right back a bit as well. I couldn't really get a kick. And I turned up to the Derbyshire Senior Cup final, not in the squad. I wasn't even on the bench, which was disappointing, but that's what it is. And I knew it was kind of the end of things for me at Ilkeston, which was sad. But for something when someone was late or something happened, I can't quite remember now. And Kev turned to me, was like, "Cully, you on the bench?" I was like, "No worries." So obviously did the warm up, got involved, blah blah blah. And then we're 1-0 down against Matlock at the Chesterfield Stadium in the Derbyshire Cup final, as you said. And me and Reedy come on at the same time. This is nothing to do with me, but Reedy scored an absolute banger, which I'm kind of claiming the assist for. And then obviously went on and scored the winning penalty. So that was fantastic. That was a season where we'd just gone into the Evo Stick Prem. I think we finished 12th, so mid-table. So we had a half-decent season, but not as good as we were used to from previous seasons of getting promoted and winning most weeks. It was nice to finish with some silverware, and it was nice to have a bit of an impact. Although it wasn't me, it was probably more Reedy, but that's my little claim to fame in the Ilkeston shirt in that season of being that one of the two super subs. Yeah, it was fantastic. So yeah, good celebrations.
Yeah, being one of the more experienced players at the club, do you think you can pass on your knowledge of the game to those younger players coming through now, especially with the academy being introduced as well?
Yeah, I'd love to think so. To be fair, it's hard at times because when you're playing in the pressure of games, sometimes you've got to understand that you are a bit more experienced, and the young lads may not know. But obviously, in the pressure of a game, sometimes the way you speak to someone might not always help them out. But I suppose that's kind of growing up in a football environment for you. But yeah, I'd love to think in training and potentially in and around match day and in and around training, I can help out. I get on really well with Cole Lambert. I had a little chat to him this morning about his little footballing journey. You know, when he obviously played for Norwich, he knows a few lads who I kind of know of, maybe cross paths with. So someone like Grant Holt, he was his coach. I kind of know Holty from back in the day. So we speak about that. So I'm really enthusiastic about potentially and seeing Cole's obviously progression in the football ranks from Ilkeston, hopefully back up to the dizzy heights of Norwich again. So that's just one example. I know you said obviously the academy lads. I'm actually currently doing my UEFA B coaching badge. That was a bit strange. Usually it's 2 weeks in the summer at St George's Park, where you do it for 2 weeks and then you come and get assessed and you get your qualification. But obviously with the coronavirus, it's all online at the minute, so it's a bit up in the air. So we've done the theory section. We still need to do the practical parts of that, and that's probably going to come in September. So hopefully I can get through that. Hopefully I can get my UEFA B qualification. And that's something I'm going to speak to Cliffy and Gandhi about, getting involved in the academy, doing a bit of coaching, just helping out. I know Billy Bennett does a fantastic job. I know he's done his coach or a few of his coaching badges, running warm-ups, kind of being a lead in the changing room in terms of the coaching side of things. Obviously, we've got Kelvin Wilson on board now. So I am in my progression to going into coaching if I see that's maybe a pathway for me. And I've got some, obviously, with Gandhi, with Cliffy, with Kelvin, Billy doing it as well. I've got some kind of good experience ahead of me and some people to learn off. So hopefully part of that, being an experienced player, I can kind of speak to the younger lads and help them out. So yeah, hopefully we'll have to wait and see.
What do you think, firstly, yourself and secondly, the team can achieve next season whenever we do start that?
Yeah, well, we spoke about this earlier. Well, Gandhi mentioned it about when we're starting back. He hasn't had, obviously, any confirmation yet, but as soon as they know, and we're going to start to ramp up training and pre-season as it would be normally towards the start of the season, whenever it may be. So personally, I'm trying to have a good pre-season. I haven't really had a good pre-season for a while now. I didn't have a pre-season at all last year. As non-league goes, you chop and change clubs at times, so very rarely have I had a full pre-season with one team for a fair few years. So I'm looking forward to having a good pre-season, trying to get myself in the team. That's the first thing. Trying to prove that I'm fit, trying to prove that my ability, I'm good enough. Because we've got some good players this year. Wow, we've got some fantastic players. We're going to have a fantastic team. So it's going to be a challenge for me to get myself in the starting 11, to be honest. As I said in the little interview I did with you when I signed, I've got a bit of a personal goal. Obviously, I think must be on 60 odd appearances for the club. So to potentially hit 100 by the end of the season, very, very ambitious. But I think that's kind of a little long shot personal goal for me. But a short term one would be just to get in the team. I think then on thinking about the team, obviously with the way the club's going with Cliffy and the chairman in charge and Gandhi, obviously, and Wayne and Kelvin coming on board, obviously got a bright future. So right up there at the higher end of the leagues, ideally playoffs, if not maybe automatic spot would be nice. But it's going to be a fantastic season, and I think anything other than playoffs would be a real shame for the ability of some of the players and then the experience as well. And then hopefully we can bring that togetherness and teamwork and team ethic along with that. So we're really aiming high, and hopefully I can be a part of that as a starting player, but we'll have to wait and see. That's down to me, really.
What would you say is a memory that stands out in football for you?
Are we talking football in general?
Either playing or watching, being a supporter or anything like that.
Okay, well, I won't talk about me anymore, Jesus. So memories, Euro 96. Now, I've watched all of England Euro 96 games recently on ITV2, and that has brought back some fantastic memories. When was it? I would have been 9. I might have been 8, to be fair, 8 or 9 back then, showing you how old I am. Watching that England team playing Euro 96 was a real standout moment for me. And I saw someone, Colin Marrison, a guy I used to play with at Belper, put something on Facebook the other day about how he can remember sat at home at 10 years old watching that with his England shirt on, and I'm exactly the same. So for me, that real standout was the kind of Euro 96. Obviously, football's coming home and all that, and the Gaza miss against Germany, and obviously the Gareth Southgate penalty miss, knocking us out, like real heartache. But it was really nice for me to watch those games back with some fond memories. Obviously, speak to my dad about it, who got me into football, and kind of reminisce. But yeah, the fantastic. Just the camera panning across the team singing the national anthem. You've got like Tony Adams belting it out. You've got Stuart Pearce, obviously Forest fan. I am, so Forest legend Stuart Pearce belting out the national anthem. So kind of real good memories. And it was really nice to watch that only a few weeks ago.
The final question is, will you be giving refs non-stop earache again next season?
Yeah, I saw that, to be fair. Obviously, like I said, on Twitter, you say ask you questions. Unfortunately, I haven't had many. Wasn't a surprise. But yeah, I'm bad for that at times, and I've fallen short in terms. I've been sent off before for 2 yellow card incidents for giving the ref some stick in the same game, which is absolutely shameful. And I haven't done that since. But I like to have constant dialogue with the ref. Sometimes you get frustrated and you can go over the top and it backfires. But sometimes being in kind of having a dialogue, chatting to the ref at certain times, it can really get you on your side. So that's kind of a part of the game that I've learned, certainly in the non-league circles, to kind of try and get the referee on your side. As I said, I can go over the top at times, but I feel like most of the time it's a positive. But I do have memories of Russell Cook constantly when he was Ilkeston captain back in the day, telling Cully, shut up, the ref's going to book you, the ref's going to send you off if you carry on. But I do know the line, so if I ever overstep the line, then I'm just shut up and I let someone else shout at the ref. But that's kind of, I don't know, is it a good thing? Is it a bad trait? I'm not too sure. I think it can be a bit of both, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, if I'm playing, I'm sure I'll be on at the referee straight away.